Welcome in, everybody. We're diving deep today into emotional resonance, and especially how it plays out for brands that are, you know, plant-based, ethical, eco-friendly.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area,
Yeah.
And we're really lucky to have Brennan Gerald's work to guide us.
Oh, absolutely. Brennan Gerald, founder of the Different World creative agency,
Different world, yeah.
and the creator of this really interesting tool, the emotional resonance meter.
The ERM, yeah. Have you had a chance to look at that at all?
I have. It's pretty amazing. It really gets at how deeply content is connecting with an audience, not just, those superficial metrics.
It really goes beyond those vanity metrics, doesn't it? The likes and the shares. I mean, those are important, don't get me wrong, but they don't tell the whole story. They don't tell you about the emotional connection that drives true engagement, that builds brand loyalty.
And that's what,
And that's where the ERM comes in.
the ERM is all about. I think it's really interesting how Gerald talks about this aha moment he had. He was working with a sustainable fashion brand.
Okay, yeah.
And they had this content creator who was just absolutely crushing it, reaching millions of people.
Wow.
And then they looked at the standard metrics and it was like, wait a minute, something's not adding up here.
The numbers weren't telling the whole story?
Not at all.
Like, why is this working so well? That's when it clicked for him. There's a missing piece here.
Totally.
And it's all about the emotional connection.
Yeah.
Gut level response.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
You can have something go viral.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily translate into any kind of trust or loyalty.
Exactly. People might share it for the shock value or because it's funny, but does that make them want to buy from that brand or support that cause? Not necessarily.
Right, exactly.
And the ERM, it digs deeper.
So much deeper. And I think what's really cool is that Gerald doesn't want to keep this just for, like, the big agencies,
Yeah.
He talks about democratizing emotional intelligence, giving everyone, from like individual creators to global brands, the ability to tap into this power.
It's a really powerful idea, isn't it? I mean, imagine a world where a small ethical business has the same access to this kind of sophisticated emotional analysis as, say, like a huge multinational corporation. That's the potential here.
Leveling the playing field.
Absolutely.
So how does it actually work?
Well, it's actually pretty amazing. It uses, artificial intelligence and neural networks. It analyzes all sorts of data, not just the words, but, facial expressions, even like subtle body language cues.
Wait a minute. So it's like reading people's faces and body language, even if they're not
It can.
like right there in person.
Yeah, even remotely. Through a webcam or even a smartphone camera. It's using these really complex algorithms to analyze these visual cues in real time. And that gives us a level of emotional insight that just wasn't possible before.
That is mind-blowing.
It is, isn't it? It's like
really
having a window into people's minds.
Yeah.
And a lot of people find that a little creepy, but I think it's exciting.
Me too.
I think it has the potential to revolutionize the way we communicate. I mean, think about it. It's like having 1,000 tiny focus groups all going at once,
No wire.
giving you this constant stream of emotional data. It's incredible the scale of information that we can access now.
Yeah, and it's not just collecting data, right? It's like it actually gives you recommendations.
Exactly. That's the really powerful part. It takes all of this data and translates it into actionable insights. Let's say, for example, you're a plant-based food company.
Okay.
You've got this new product you're about to launch.
Got it.
You run your ad campaign through the ERM, and it tells you that, you know what? Your message, it's generating excitement, which is great.
Okay.
But there's also a little bit of skepticism
Oh.
in a certain segment of your audience.
Interesting.
Maybe they're not quite sure about the ingredients or where you're sourcing your products from. And so the ERM might say, hey, you know what? Tweak those visuals a little bit. Emphasize the transparency.
Okay.
Show people where your ingredients are coming from, how your products are made.
So it's like not just telling you how they feel,
Yeah.
but it's actually like giving you specific advice
It is.
on how to adjust your message.
Yeah.
Get the response you want.
Exactly. It's almost like having an AI creative director.
That's amazing.
Constantly refining your work.
Yeah.
Helping you make sure that your message is landing the way you intended.
Well, does that mean then that like human creativity is obsolete in this scenario?
Hmm.
Like, are we all just going to be taking orders from the ERM?
No, not at all. I mean, Brennan is very clear about this.
Okay.
The ERM, it's about augmenting human creativity,
Yeah.
not replacing it. It's like giving creative teams this incredibly powerful tool that frees them from having to do all that data analysis themselves, and that allows them to focus on what they do best, which is
storytelling.
being creative, crafting those narratives and building those authentic brand experiences.
It's a partnership.
It is. It's the perfect blend of data and intuition. And I think this is particularly relevant for ethical and sustainable brands.
Totally.
You know, they often struggle with this challenge of how to communicate their values in a way that feels genuine and engaging without being preachy.
Without falling into that greenwashing trap.
Exactly.
It's a tough line to walk.
It is a tough line to walk. They need to strike that balance between informing and inspiring.
Yes.
They can't just hit people over the head with facts and figures.
Right.
They need to connect with them emotionally.
And that's where the ERM.
That's where the ERM can be transformative.
Yeah.
Because it can help those brands identify the specific stories, the visuals, the language that will resonate most deeply with their audience. And that allows them to build trust and create a genuine connection. You know, it might reveal, for example, that showing the positive impact their products are having on real people's lives is much more effective.
And just like a list of features.
Than just saying, hey, we're eco-friendly.
Right.
People want to see the story. They want to feel the impact.
Yeah. It sounds like the ERM is really kind of shifting the whole branding paradigm, moving away from, you know, just to clicks and likes and conversions and really into this.
It is a paradigm shift.
Deeper understanding of how content affects people.
I mean, it raises the question, doesn't it? If emotional resonance is this powerful, and we now have the tools to measure it and understand it, can we afford to ignore it?
I think you're right. It really does raise that question for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
And you know what I love is how Gerald really emphasizes that this isn't just for these huge companies, you know, with millions of dollars to throw at marketing.
Exactly.
He really sees the ERM as something that could be used by anybody.
Yeah.
From, you know, individual creators to small businesses.
yeah.
Really understand how to connect with people on an emotional level.
It's about giving everyone the tools to tell their story in a way that really moves people.
Exactly. I mean, imagine like a small organic farm.
Right.
You know, using the ERM to figure out how to connect with customers.
Yeah, and build those relationships.
Build loyalty, you know?
Absolutely. And you know what I find really exciting about this? Is the potential implications for social change.
Totally.
I mean, imagine nonprofits, activists, you know, anyone who's trying to make a difference. They can use this technology to craft messages that really inspire people to take action.
It's like giving them a superpower.
It is. It's like giving them a megaphone that amplifies their message through emotional connection.
Right. And it helps them cut through the noise.
Exactly. Because there's so much noise out there.
And it all comes back to that human connection, doesn't it?
It does.
You know, in a world that's increasingly digital.
Yeah.
It's easy to lose sight of that.
It's easy to forget that we're all human beings with emotions.
But the ERM reminds us.
It does.
You know, that no matter how advanced our technology gets, it's those emotional connections.
Those are the things that matter.
That really make a difference.
And as Gerald says, understanding and measuring emotional resonance, it's not optional anymore.
It's the future.
It's the future of storytelling.
So are you ready to dive in?
I am. Are you?
I think so. I'm feeling pretty inspired after this conversation.
Me too. It's like a whole new world has opened up.
And that's what I love about these deep dives.
It is. It's about exploring new ideas and challenging ourselves to think differently.
Exactly. And hopefully our listeners are feeling that same sense of inspiration.
I hope so.
You know, it's a reminder that we're all storytellers in our own way.
We are.
Whether we're building a brand or just connecting with people in our lives.
Yeah.
The power of emotional resonance is something we can all tap into.
Absolutely.
So as you go out into the world today, think about how you can bring a little bit more heart.
A little bit more soul.
Into your own message.
Yeah. Beautifully said.
You know, because in the end, it's those connections that really matter.
It's the connections that make us human.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep connecting.
And keep feeling.